Now the next cartilage, that is the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage is ring-shaped and it completely encircles the lower part of the larynx just below the thyroid cartilage. This cricoid cartilage is more thicker and stronger than the thyroid cartilage. Now we will draw the lateral view of the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage has a narrow anterior part and a posterior broader part. The narrow anterior part is known as the arch of the cricoid cartilage and the posterior broader part is known as the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. At the junction of the arch and the lamina here lies the inferior cornu of the thyroid cartilage, which is forming a synovial joint which is known as the cricothyroid joint. So this joint is the demarcating line between the arch and the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Here you can see that the lamina is projecting upwards and behind the thyroid cartilage and is articulating with the arytenoid cartilage to form a joint here, and this joint is known as cricoarytenoid joint, which is a type of synovial joint, plain synovial joint. Both these cricoarytenoid and the cricothyroid joint are plain synovial joint. Therefore, it will allow sliding and gliding type of movement. Now the next cartilage, that is the epiglottis. The shape of the epiglottis is leaf-like, which has an upper end which is broader and free and a lower end which is narrow and attached. The upper end of the epiglottis, which is broader, lies behind the hyoid bone and the tongue. The upper part of the anterior surface of the epiglottis is connected to the tongue by folds of mucous membrane. This fold of mucous membrane are known as median glossoepiglottic fold and two lateral glossoepiglottic fold on both sides of the median glossoepiglottic fold. So if you draw the tongue here and this is the epiglottis, we are seeing the oral cavity from above. So from the epiglottis to the tongue in the median plane lies the median glossoepiglottic fold, and on both the sides of the median glossoepiglottic fold lies another two fold which are known as lateral glossoepiglottic fold. And between the median and the lateral glossoepiglottic fold on both sides lies a depression which was known as vallecula. So this is the lateral view of these folds and this is the superior view of the glossoepiglottic fold. Also the anterior surface of the epiglottis is also connected to the hyoid bone by a ligament, and this ligament is known as hyoepiglottic ligament, which was extending from anterior surface of epiglottis to the hyoid bone. The lower end or the stalk of the epiglottis, which was narrow, is getting attached to the inner surface of the thyroid angle by a ligament which is known as thyroepiglottic ligament. So this ligament was known as thyroepiglottic epiglottic ligament, which was connecting the lower end of the epiglottis with the inner surface of the thyroid angle, which was the junction of the anterior end of the thyroid lamina. Later on, we will see that the two lateral margins of the epiglottis is attached to the arytenoids by a fold of mucous membrane, which is extending from the lateral margin to the arytenoid, and this fold of mucous membrane is known as epiglottic fold. So this was the epiglottic fold extending from the lateral margin to the arytenoids. Now the next cartilage, that is the arytenoid cartilage. The arytenoid cartilage are paired structures which is pyramidal in shape and is articulating below with the upper border of the cricoid cartilage to form a joint here. This joint was known as Crico-arytenoid joint, which was a plain synovial joint. This arytenoid cartilage has three processes. The above process is known as apex. The process which is facing laterally is known as muscular process, and another process which is facing anteriorly. This process is known as vocal process. We can easily understand the orientation of the arytenoid by a simple hand trick, that is, these two are the arytenoid cartilages and you are seeing from the front. If we look onto one arytenoid, this is the anterior aspect, this is the posterior aspect, and this is the superior aspect. So this is the apex of the arytenoid, this is the vocal process of the arytenoid which is facing anteriorly, this is the muscular process which is facing laterally, and there are three surfaces of the arytenoid. This is the anterolateral surface which is facing anterolaterally between the vocal process and the muscular process. This is the medial surface which is facing medially between the vocal process and the apex, and this is the posterior surface facing posteriorly between the apex and the muscular process. So in this way we can easily understand the orientation of the arytenoid, and later on we will also demonstrate the movements of the arytenoid by this hand trick. Now the next cartilage, that is the corniculate. These are also paired cartilages which are two small conical nodules which articulates with the apex of the arytenoid, and it is directed posteromedially. The next cartilage is the cuneiform, which are also paired cartilages and is rod shaped and is present on the ventral part of these corniculate cartilages. Both the corniculate and the cuneiform lie in the epiglottic fold, which was the fold of mucous membrane extending from the arytenoid to the epiglottis. So this was the epiglottic fold, in which the corniculate and the cuneiform cartilages lie. So this completes all the laryngeal cartilages.